name is echoing through the halls of power in London and Abuja. If you haven't been keeping up, here's the urgent update. Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, or IPOB, is facing what his family calls a life-or-death situation in Nigerian detention. His family, worried and frustrated, just sounded a major alarm to the UK government. They say it would be, in their words, a shame if Kanu dies in custody. Remember, this isn't just a local issue. Kanu is a British citizen, so why the silence from Westminster? That's what his relatives want to know. Let's break it down. Kanu was arrested back in 2015, vanished after making bail, then reappeared in Israel and the UK. In 2021, he was controversially intercepted in Kenya and flown to Nigeria. His family calls it an extraordinary rendition. Since then, he's been held by the Department of State Services, with lawyers and relatives saying his health is failing and legal access is limited. The charges? Terrorism, treason, running an unlawful society. But there's controversy here too. Some charges tied to his UK-based actions were quietly dropped, making many question the legal process itself. Now pressure is mounting. Opposition leaders in Nigeria and even US politicians are watching. His family is petitioning the British government directly, demanding real action and a clear stance. Here's the bottom line. Kanu's health, rights and future are all on the line, and this story isn't staying quiet. Will the UK step up, or will silence speak louder? Stay tuned.
All right, let us give you the news in detail. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wonderful people, and thank you once again for joining us on this wonderful YouTube channel. Do not forget to do the needful by sharing this video to as many groups, to as many platforms as possible, as we continue to give you more updated information on everything trending and happening in Biafran territory. Now, the news in detail. It will be a shame if Nnamdi Kanu dies in detention. Family allows UK on his condition in detention. The news. Family of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has alerted the United Kingdom, insisting that allowing its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, to die in detention would be an utmost shame to their nation. Spokesperson for the family and younger brother to the detained pro-Biafran group leader, Emmanuel, in a statement yesterday, accused the British government of not protecting the rights of one of his own during his rendition from Kenya and continued trial in Nigeria. His statement reads in part, "With hearts burdened by sorrow, we, the family of Nnamdi Kanu, issue this solemn declaration to the world. We do so not only in defense of our beloved brother, father, and uncle, but in defense of truth, justice, and the sacred memory of the over 5 million Biafrans slaughtered during Britain's orchestrated genocide from 1967 to 1970. The United Kingdom has never stopped unaliving Biafrans, only that the methods have changed. Today, the same British government that armed Nigeria to stab Biafran children to death now stands accused of a far more cowardly crime: the silent orchestration and diplomatic shielding of an illegal rendition, torture, and political trial of a British citizen of exercising freedoms guaranteed under the British law. Let the world take note. Should Nnamdi Kanu die in the custody of the Nigerian government, it would be to the external shame and blood-drenched legacy of the United Kingdom. Nnamdi Kanu, who accused the United Kingdom government of betraying his elder brother, Kanu rather, not Nnamdi Kanu, who accused the UK government of betraying his elder brother, also recalled in June 2021, Nnamdi Kanu, a lawful British citizen and leader of a peaceful self-determination movement, IPOB registered under United Kingdom law, was abducted in Nairobi, Kenya, subjected to extraordinary rendition without due process, and illegally transferred to Nigeria by operatives whose trial the British authorities have deliberately ignored. This transnational crime was carried out in clear violation of Kenya and international law, yet Britain said nothing. Worse still, their silence gave Nigeria the license to act with impunity. Now, the question he went further to ask was, why was the British High Commission in Nairobi inactive? Why a British citizen was drugged, tortured, and flown out in chains? Why was the UK Foreign Office complicit in turning a blind eye to the abduction that violated every known treaty obligation under the international human rights and consular law? The answer is now painfully clear. Britain was not merely a bystander. Britain was a core conspirator. Following this illegal rendition, the United Kingdom government pretended to be engaged. The British consular officials visited Nnamdi Kanu in the DSS custody in Abuja. He asked one simple question: why is the United Kingdom allowing a British citizen to be tried for broadcast made in the UK, where both indigenous people of Biafra and Radio Biafra are lawful entities, both in UK and other international communities? Let's be clear. Forget about this shambolic law of the zoo government. We'll continue with what Kanu's brother said. Forget about this shambolic law and how the indigenous people of Biafra was actually proscribed in the zoo. Because to the best of my knowledge, it was actually an ex parte motion that was given against, against the indigenous people of Biafra from the former CGNs, Chief Justice of the Federation, that is Malami, right? Yes. He collected an ex parte order that the indigenous people of Biafra should be proscribed. So there is nowhere in the world that recognizes the indigenous people of Biafra, as an unlawful entity, as an unlawful organization, as a terrorist organization. No. Nobody, no law, no court prescribe the indigenous people of Biafra. Forget about all this propaganda and this whole shenanigan that is happening in the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom. This lawless act and this shameful act that the United Kingdom is actually involved in. The reality is that indigenous people of Biafra and Radio Biafra are lawful entities. So if you're claiming that Nnamdi Kanu, made an unlawful comment, thank God your court have proven otherwise. The court of the zoo have proven otherwise, in as much as they are still holding justice by delaying the justice, by delaying the judgment of Nnamdi Kanu. They don't have any other thing to say. Why is the United Kingdom allowing a British citizen to be tried for a broadcast that was made in the United Kingdom, in Nigeria? Like, where is this kind of things being done in the world? And the painful part is that a corrupt country rather, and a great country in quotes, because we cannot take away the fact that the United Kingdom is a great country. That is why they are called Great Britain. As great as the United Kingdom is allowing this kind of injustices to happen because of the oil and the natural resources you gain from this country. It is actually shameful, and this kind of things will remain unaccepted. We cannot continue to, accept this kind of illegality. We cannot continue to accept this kind of injustices. We cannot continue to accept this kind of, unlawful act. And the world is quiet about it. We will continue to raise our voice and we'll continue to react, truthfully, concerning the unlawful act of detaining Nnamdi Kanu, despite every court, giving judgment in favor of Nnamdi Kanu. Let us round up with the news. Now, the response was both evasive and insidious. We will get back to you, but they never did. It is actually shameful. I dropped a video of how the UK government in their parliament discussed Nnamdi Kanu, and after discussing Nnamdi Kanu and the whole ordeal and the whole shenanigan that happened, they swept it under their carpet with "we will get back to you," but they never did. It is painful, that the world has been sold out to few people. I've said this thing, over and over again. A great songwriter and a great musician, I think he's from Senegal, I've forgotten his name. He said in his song, based on translation, because the song was actually in French, he said that the world has been sold to a particular set of people, and it is only those who have the power that can actually enjoy the benefit of the world. For example, the smaller countries will meet the bigger countries for help. And the bigger countries will tell them, if you give me a portion of your island where you have oil, I will solve the problem of poverty for you. And you see these countries giving out millions, support. The other one we used to head was US aid, that is from the US, that has actually been reviewed and exposed by the Trump administration, that this US aid was actually, funding the highest level of terrorism in the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom. And the truth, came out, and we saw the reality being played openly. This is how the world has been sold to the bigger country. If you want this from me, it is a trade by barter. I will give you this so that you will keep short. UK, you don't have to say anything concerning Nnamdi Kanu. Let us carry out this whole thing unlawfully. Just be quiet about it. Don't worry, we will increase the barrels of oil we continue to give. If they were giving 35% or 50%, they will increase it to 70%. For example, just for them to keep quiet. This is the level that the world has actually gotten to. And that is why people are not speaking out the truth anymore, because of the injustices in the whole, and the world is going down on daily basis, deteriorating on daily basis. That is why people like Nnamdi Kanu, people like Simon Ekpa, who are only after the progress of their people and Africa, is being seen as as enemy of the world. People like Ibrahim Traore, they are seen like the enemy of the world, because they continue to expose and review the atrocities being committed in Africa, against Africa, in the world generally. Now, rounding up with the information, Nnamdi Kanu's brother went further to say, instead, within 4 days of that meeting, Nigerian's then Attorney General Abubakar Malami, Attorney General, not Chief of Justice, sorry, Attorney General of Federation Abubakar Malami quietly amended the charges against Kanu, removing London, United Kingdom, as the alleged location of the offences. The only logical inference is that the British authorities either advised Nigeria to do this or consented to a cover-up to evade the UK's own jurisdictional responsibility. Emphasizing more on the British government's alleged silence on his brother's ordeal, Kanu said, despite the indigenous people of Biafran's legal status in the UK and the total absence of any UK court order outlawing his activities, the British government has continually refused to challenge Kanu's unlawful prosecution in Nigeria. Why? Because they know what every international legal scholar knows, that the alleged offenses occurred outside Nigerian territory, that the primary jurisdiction lies in the United Kingdom, not Nigeria, that the rendition violated the UK's own Extradition Act, the Commonwealth Mutual Assistance Treaty, and all norms of international law. Yet, when the question was asked of the British Foreign Office, why won't you demand that your own citizen be returned to either the UK or Kenya, where he was abducted? They offered the most cowardly response imaginable. We cannot interfere in a Nigerian trial. Nnamdi Kanu's trial is now a Nigerian trial. A trial that, according to them, an offense that they claim that happened in the United Kingdom. A British citizen for that matter, he wasn't in Nigeria. A British citizen issue is now a Nigerian issue. Well, let's continue. This is not just false, it is a betrayal. The UK government has, in fact, interfered constantly by suppressing evidence, shielding Nigerian impunity and erasing its own culpability from the chain of events that led to Kanu's ongoing trial. Similarly, Kanu has accused the British government of being obsessed with Biafra. He said, in 1968, they supplied the arms that unalive Biafran's children. In 2021, they supplied the silence that allowed their citizens to be kidnapped and tortured. What exactly did the Igbo people do to the Britain to deserve this generational hatred? Is it our resilience or our enterprise or our refusal to bow to colonial structures masquerading as post-colonial government? Why is it that every time an Igbo leader rises to speak truth to power, Britain rushes to undermine him? It is time for the world to know Britain's hatred for the Igbo people has outlived colonialism. That what they could not achieve with bombs and starvation in 1967, they now pursue through legal manipulation, judicial collusion, and geopolitical deceit. The time to speak is now. The statement is not made in anger. It is made in defiance. We defy the century of British deception in Africa. We defy the silence that enables crimes against our people. And we defy the notion that a British citizen can be abducted, tortured, and tried abroad without the UK lifting a finger. If Britain cannot protect its own citizens, then it should admit publicly that some British citizens are more equal than others. Let the world judge. However, listing his demand to the UK government, Kanu said publicly, accepted responsibility for your complicity in the legal rendition of Nnamdi Kanu, immediately demand his return to either Kenya or the United Kingdom, cease all diplomatic and legal support that sustains this illegal trial in Nigeria, initiate a parliamentary inquiry into the roles played by the British High Commissions in Nairobi and Abuja in this scandal. Tell the truth. Why is Britain so obsessed with silencing Biafra? If anything happens to our brother, the Kanu family will hold the United Kingdom responsible, not because they failed to act, but because they chose to act on the side of evil. Their silence is not neutral. It is an endorsement of tyranny. Let the earth tremble with the truth. Let history record our warning. Let justice not be buried under diplomatic hypocrisy. That is that with this powerful enlightenment and message to the UK government concerning Nnamdi Kanu. It is painful how UK is quiet. I just wish that the what is it called, the US government can actually come to the aid of Nnamdi Kanu in this issue, because if they can intervene, in as much as you can't even blame the US, because it's necessarily not their issue. No, but if they can actually get involved in this kind of issue, I know with the kind of respect that the UK give the US, they can actually do the needful. It is a shame on the United Kingdom, on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. Well, I am not surprised with their whole silence about it, because they cannot speak because of what they are gaining from Nigeria. It is as simple as that. Until we understand this, then we'll understand why they will continue to be cowards, in the face of adversity. That's what it be for our mouth today. Thank you once again for joining us on this wonderful YouTube channel. Make sure you do the needful by sharing our videos to as many groups, to as many platforms as possible, as we continue to give you more updated information. God bless you.